And then we went other places. And then the next year we came back, or like a couple of years later, we came back to Mexico. And then we left again and then came back in 2023. So this is just a country that we always just keep coming back to.
Yep.
This is Worldschooling Q&A. I'm Astrid, creator of The Wandering Daughter. As a traveling family, we've spent 4 years traveling full-time to over 18 countries and 6 continents. Wherever we go, we try to learn as much as we can about the countries and cultures we visit. While we didn't coin the term, we like to call this world schooling, using the world as our classroom. Each week, my husband Clint and I will answer one question about world schooling and share our experiences of traveling the world with our kids. Ready to get started? Great! Let's dive in.
Okay, this week we're switching gears and we're going to start deep diving into the countries that we visited as a family. And the first question for this series is, how do I world school in Mexico?
So I think we'll just start with kind of giving you a quick overview of Mexico in general and just arriving there as a family. Keep this brief because we'll dive into just talking about the highlights that we have over Mexico. But Mexico is a big country. Lots of people from the U.S. are afraid to travel there, just to be frank, for some reason. But you don't have to be. It's an amazing country with lots of diversity, a rich history, incredible diversity in nature and people. It's got amazing food. So it's really incredible overall place to go to. And for anyone based in the United States and Canada, it's a great place to start because it's so close to home. It's really easy to get there. They allow up to 6-month tourist visas, or travel visas that you don't need to apply for in advance. So you can get there very easily, show up, say you're there for 6 months, and they usually will grant you that or however long. And then it's easy to get around, domestic flights.
Yep.
You can drive. We've driven a ton in Mexico.
Yeah. There's buses too. There's a bus system that you can take advantage of.
Yeah, very good bus system.
And in the Yucatán Peninsula, they just opened up the train that goes throughout that region. So that we haven't ridden it yet, but I think that is a good way to, get from place to place in the Yucatán Peninsula.
Yeah, I think, the largest city is Mexico City. A lot of families will tend to fly into Mexico City because that's where most of the flights go to, but then immediately go somewhere else. I recommend just hanging out in Mexico City for a bit. It's an amazing city. We're city people, so we like that. But, every major region, how many states is there in Mexico?
I think there's 32.
32 states. Every state has a major city that we've been to a handful of them, and they're all awesome in their own ways.
Yeah.
So, and we like small towns too. But anyways, it's a great place to start. I think that was where we started technically our world schooling adventure, even though we had traveled to other places before. When we went full time, it was Mexico.
Yeah. And the thing is, so when we were traveling full time, we went to Mexico and spent, originally intending to spend 4 months there, but ended up extending it to 6 months. And then we went other places. And then the next year we came back, or a couple of years later, we came back to Mexico. And then we left again and then came back in 2023. So this is just a country that we always just keep coming back to.
Yep. I think just a couple of logistics. Peso is the main form of money. It is mostly a cash-based system. So you can have cards, but mostly just have a debit card so you can get cash. You can use a normal debit card from the US or Canada. But cash is going to be what you use the majority of the time. Yeah. So be sure to carry that out. It's really easy to get cash at grocery stores. There's lots of places.
And they speak Spanish there, so you should at least learn a few phrases in Spanish. I have a Spanish phrase book that you can download from my site. So the link will be in the show notes.
Yeah. And Spanish is critical there because once you get outside the airports and stuff, there's actually not a lot of people that speak English very regularly, unless you're in touristy zones. But we don't spend a ton of time in touristy zones, so we mostly end up speaking Spanish. Yeah. I think that's
So what are some things that world schoolers might enjoy in Mexico, or what might be some like good opportunities for learning while you're in Mexico?
Oh, man. I mean, this is why we spent so much time in Mexico, because there's just a wealth of experiences that you can do there.
Yeah.
First and foremost, like, this is a cliche sometimes, but like, just the diversity in people and the
Mhm.
histories is incredible. From the Yucatán Peninsula and mostly Mayan there, they have a really rich Mayan history throughout, especially the small towns, to, you know, the Mexico City in that area, whereas it's mostly Aztec based. There's desert areas. There's
Yeah.
the monarch butterflies. I mean, there's a ton. I could go on and
And like Oaxaca State, there, you have like the Zapotec culture there. And then over in the Pacific coast is like Nahuatl. Maybe I'm butchering this, but it just so many different like mixes of cultures. And then you have like, it was a former Spanish colony. So then you have, for better or for worse, like the influence of Spanish culture via colonialism kind of overlaid on top of Mexican culture, or like the indigenous culture, and sort of seeing how that plays out has been interesting to experience.
and I think that it's the Spanish colonial like look from an architecture standpoint that really gives Mexico what we think of, at least in the United States, as the kind of quintessential Mexican look. And it is quite beautiful. I mean, it is definitely a problematic history for
Yeah.
sure.
What are
but
some
it's-
cities that have like some great like colonial architecture?
Oh yeah, I mean, some bigger cities that have it. Obviously, Mexico City does.
Yeah.
But like a great one is like Puerto Vallarta down in the Romantica zone. Has some great. San Miguel de Allende is actually a UNESCO World Heritage Site, so it's really preserved some of that. Throughout Mexico, you have these towns they call magical towns. So Pueblos Mágicos. Pueblos Mágicos, yeah. And it's like all of those are preserved in some way largely because of the architecture and the history, but also because of the art and things like that.
Guanajuato is also another great.
Oh, Guanajuato. I think that's probably our favorite city. Yeah.
Then on the other side, there's like cities where it's so like you can learn about some of the indigenous history there. So like you have so many archaeological sites that have been like preserved or restored. The popular one is Chichen Itza, and Teotihuacan near the city, but we've been to like Monte Albán near Oaxaca. We've been to like some of the smaller archaeological sites in the Yucatán Peninsula and like in central Mexico. So like learning about indigenous culture has been unique and wonderful for the kids.
And they're really infused. I mean, it really is a mix of indigenous and colonial history there. It's a fascinating mix. I think the majority of the country is still pretty much Catholic, but infused in that. One of our earliest memories is being in Mexico City and literally being in front of a Catholic church.
Yeah.
And there's like Aztec dancing happening in the square right in front. And
yeah,
it's, you can find the indigenous culture everywhere. I think in Merida on the Yucatan Peninsula, that's a Mayan hub, like a Mayan market hub. So there's big Mayan markets there, and all the surrounding towns are small Mayan towns that traditionally have created goods to bring to the market. So yeah, I could go on and on and on about the culture and the history and stuff, but yeah.
What about like some nature related things?
Yeah.
I mean, you talked a little bit about the diversity in nature. What were some of the highlights for you?
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, there's whale sharks. We swam with whale sharks in La Paz. It's one of the migratory paths for the whale sharks. It's, in fact, the entire west coast of Mexico, west and southern coast of Mexico is migratory paths for all whales. So depending on the time of year, you can see humpbacks, you can see, tiger sharks, or not tiger sharks, whale sharks. I mean, just everything comes through that area. The manta rays come through. It's just, we saw manta rays jumping out of the water like they were like mosquitoes. I mean, there's so many of them just literally coming out of the water.
Yeah.
It's also a migratory path for the monarch butterflies.
Yeah.
So central Mexico near Mexico City and Michoacán, right? Yeah, in the state of Michoacán is where the monarch butterflies is the southernmost point where the monarch butterflies migrate to.
That's only certain times a year.
Only certain times, yeah. And these are all like throughout the year, right?
Yeah.
What else?
One of the things that I liked, and we did a fantastic tour with this company called Puerto Escondido Eco Adventures. And so this was in the town of Puerto Escondido that is in Oaxaca state. And it was a baby sea turtle release. So that was such a fun experience because before we did the experience, the kids and I watched a video to kind of learn about baby sea turtles or like just sea turtles in general and like their life cycle and why they're endangered and some of the like hazards or dangers that they face even in the first like moments of life. And then we take this tour with them and they take us to like the sea turtle nursery or sanctuary where they have like the eggs there. And then we saw some of the baby sea turtles that had hatched and put some in a bowl. They put some in a bowl and then we carried it out to the beach so that we can like release them into the ocean. And so the kids kind of saw, like just even that 50 meters going to the water was like dangerous for them because like the birds are like swarming around. We're trying to like swat away the seagulls because that's like good food for them. But yeah, it was like I think those types of experiences was what helped them like click the like, oh, I'm watching this in a video or I read this in a book and now I see it in real life.
I think it's also important in things like that too, those types of experiences, to really talk to the people behind it too.
Yes.
Because we kind of befriended the owner of that and talked to him more in depth. And you learn things about that. Like we learned that those kind of quote unquote touristy activities that they do to release the turtles are geared towards to try to bring income into the organization. And that most of the turtle releases and stuff happen in the middle of the night because that's when the predators are not going to get them.
Yeah.
And they, so like it's not just them. Like in Guanajuato, there's a woman who sells cheesecakes along a main street and we sit and talk with her and we get to know. So that's just one of the things too, I think that we kind of goes back to the people in general. Yeah. Are there any other nature things you can think of?
I'm trying to think. Oh, in Guanajuato as well, the city is like surrounded by mountains. So we did like a horseback riding experience there. And then, yes, you're right. Like snorkeling. I think the Yucatán Peninsula was like the Cozumel was great for that.
Cozumel was, absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
So there's so much diversity there and so many.
It's so many UNESCO sites too.
Yeah.
So I think it would be a miss if you are going to world school and you skip Mexico.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I think, so I want to end the episode with like your recommendations. If somebody was to go to Mexico, if you wanted to send a family there, what would be like, these are the places you can't miss?
Well, I know we have a little bit of a problem recommending this. But I would recommend, they're right next to each other, so it's not hard to go to, but San Miguel de Allende, it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's absolutely charming as a small town.
Yeah.
It is laden with a lot of tourists, so you have to take that into consideration. A lot of foreign tourists, which can be can not be a thing for some people, right?
Yeah.
And it's a thing for us too. Like we also are a little bothered by that. But
it's beautiful.
Yeah. 30 minutes away, probably one of our favorite, if not favorite cities, not only in Mexico, but like in the world. And that's Guanajuato City.
Yeah.
And Guanajuato City is incredible.
Yeah.
There are some foreign visitors there, foreigners that are living there. It's a growing number of foreigners that are living there, but it's actually mostly Mexican tourists, I think, that come to Guanajuato City. Yeah. And it's like this mini metropolis. I mean, it's just incredible. It's artsy. It's beautiful architecture. It's set on these really steep hills. It used to be a mining community. So there's all these crazy tunnels that the taxis will drive through. It's just such an amazing, interesting city with all the amenities of a city, right? There's movie theaters, malls, all that, because there's kind of like a newer outer part, but then the inner part is this really incredible place. So those would be my 2 recommendations. I have another one, but I'll reserve for you.
I would recommend 3 places. And again, these are all cities as well because we're city people. But one is Merida in the Yucatán Peninsula. It's also one of the safest cities in Mexico, if not supposedly the safest city. But we love it because it's a good mix of like, there's the colonial architecture, but there's also like the Mayan heritage and so much good food. I forgot to mention how much like there's Mexican food is like way more than just tacos.
Yes.
Although we love tacos. But yeah, so Merida is one, and it's, it's kind of accessible to the beach if you wanted to take like a 45-minute drive out to Progreso. Puerto Vallarta was another city that we fell in love with. Mm-hmm. And something that we liked about that was like, it used to be a spot so the Spanish, they colonized Mexico and the Philippines, but they never had a direct connection to the Philippines. Yeah. And we didn't know about this until we learned about it in Puerto Vallarta, because the Spanish would come to Mexico via like Veracruz, go across the country to like Puerto Vallarta, Acapulco, and then go to the Philippines from there. So Puerto Vallarta was like a like pivotal city for that Spain, Mexico, Philippines kind of connection route. So I would recommend that if you were going to go, just to like, not only for like that historical part, but there's some beautiful like snorkeling, swimming opportunities too over there.
I would echo Puerto Vallarta as probably, if you are only going to go to Mexico once, or it's the first time you're going to Mexico, I would probably recommend Puerto Vallarta because it's got a mix of the ocean, so the snorkeling, it's got mountains and kind of it's got jungle feel. It's got the colonial history of it.
Yeah.
There is some indigenous, maybe not as much indigenous representation there as say other parts of Mexico, but it's really vibrant. You're going to get it's a cruise stop. So there are a lot of foreigners there and tourists. So that's one thing maybe to keep in mind, but it's absolutely incredible first stop.
Yeah. And then the last place would be Oaxaca City. We love food, and that is probably one of the best places to be in Mexico if you want to try different types of cuisine, or like just try like the cuisine of Mexico.
Yeah, especially the food markets there.
Yeah. There's
so many food markets. And all through Mexico, the food markets are amazing, but I think Oaxaca specifically, the food markets are amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else we didn't cover?
No. And if you want to learn more about some of these cities that we highlight, I have articles about different cities in Mexico on my website. And I also have a separate website dedicated to Mexico travel called Mexico Family Travels. So check that out too.
I do want to mention 2 more things about food real quick. One, it is a little hard for vegans to go and eat food ordered. Now there is growing like number of vegan restaurants and things, but cooking's no problem.
Yeah.
Easy to buy ingredients to cook vegan friendly. The other thing is, I think it would be amiss if we didn't say anything about safety.
Yes. Food safety, or just safety in general. Yes.
So one reason I think folks in the US that don't go to Mexico very often is because our media tends to have a very negative view of Mexico. Some of it justified, some of it not justified.
Yep.
The thing to remember, Mexico is huge. It's about, I think, the third size of the United States. It's incredibly large. And there are pockets that are really dangerous because of, say, cartel action or things like that. And then there are pockets that are completely safe and residential. The thing is, all throughout the country, people live, people survive, people work, people have good lives. And
there are families in Mexico. So, I always think like, if there are families that are living in this place, then it's, there's a way to be safe there.
Yeah. We're always like, we will go to Mexico anytime. So we're like, any of our friends, family, whoever is hesitant about going to Mexico, plan a trip together. We'll go to, and we'll show you some spots, because it's once you get there and realize like, oh, this place is amazing, it's easy to kind of push away some of those negativity. But anyways, it's just, I wanted to mention that because that is a country that gets, I think, a lot of conversation or debate about that. Yeah. So cool. All right.
Well, that's all for today. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Worldschooling Q&A with Astrid and Clint. Be sure to check out the show notes for any links we mentioned in the episode, and visit my website, thewanderingdaughter.com, to dive deeper into worldschooling and family travel.
If you like what you hear, please consider supporting The Wandering Daughter on Patreon. It really helps us out and keeps the show going. You'll also get exclusive perks like episode transcripts, additional resources, access to office hours with us, and more. You can find us on Spotify or the podcast app of your choice. If you're listening to this on Spotify, you can tap the bell icon to get notified when new episodes come out. And if you like this episode, please give us a 5-star review. It really helps new people find our show.
If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe and tap the bell icon to get notified of new episodes. You can follow me on Instagram @WanderDaughter or follow The Wandering Daughter on Facebook. Links to these are also in the show notes. If you have any worldschooling questions you'd like us to answer for future episodes, feel free to throw them in the comments or send us a message at thewanderingdaughter.com/podcast. Until next time, happy travels!
Bye!